For over a century, the hum of a diesel engine has been the soundtrack of agriculture. It's a sound that represents power, reliability, and the sheer grit required to feed the world. But that sound is becoming an expensive liability. In 2026, the agricultural sector is hitting a breaking point. With volatile diesel prices, tightening global emission regulations, and a skyrocketing need for operational efficiency, the old way of powering a farm is simply failing the math. Enter the electric tractor. It's not just about going green. It's about the fact that electric motors provide instant torque, significantly fewer moving parts, and a total cost of ownership that finally, after years of prototyping, makes economic sense for industrial operations. The global electric tractor market is currently exploding, with a compound annual growth rate projected to exceed 20% through the next decade. Today, we're peeling back the layers on the agroeconomics of electrification, why industrial farms are making the switch, how these machines handle the grueling reality of fieldwork, and where the biggest challenges to adoption still lie. To understand why electrification is inevitable, you have to look at the diesel trap. For an industrial-scale farm, diesel isn't just a fuel, it's a massive, unpredictable line item in your OPEX. Beyond the fuel price itself, you're dealing with the hidden tax of maintenance. A traditional internal combustion engine has hundreds of moving parts: pistons, injectors, exhaust systems, turbochargers, each one a point of failure. Every hour a tractor spends in the repair shop during harvest season is an hour of lost productivity. On top of this, we are seeing a massive shift in regulatory pressure. From the EPA in the United States to the European Green Deal, the mandate is clear. Zero emission standards are coming for off-road equipment. For large fleet operators, upgrading to compliant diesel engines is a cost-heavy endeavor that doesn't actually improve farm efficiency. Electric tractors, however, bypass this entire regulatory burden while simultaneously lowering your operational footprint. So, what do you actually gain when you pull the engine out of a tractor and replace it with a battery and a motor? First, let's talk about performance. Electric motors provide what we call instant torque. In a diesel tractor, you have to rev the engine up to reach peak power. In an electric tractor, the power is there the millisecond you touch the pedal. This is a game changer for field work, plowing, seeding, and transport, where you need immediate response to maintain speed under variable soil loads. Second, the maintenance profile is fundamentally different. When you remove the engine oil, the fuel filters, the complex transmission systems, and the aftertreatment hardware, you are removing the vast majority of common mechanical failures. We're talking about a 60 to 70% reduction in scheduled maintenance costs. And then there is the energy itself. In many regions, the cost per kilowatt-hour of electricity, especially if a farm invests in its own solar or wind integration, is a fraction of the cost per liter of diesel. You are essentially turning your tractor into a machine that runs on your own infrastructure, rather than a global commodity market that you have no control over. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the price tag. Yes, the upfront capital expenditure of an electric tractor is higher than a diesel equivalent. The battery systems are dense, specialized, and expensive to manufacture. But this is where agroeconomics comes in. You have to look at the total cost of ownership. When you factor in the massive reduction in fuel expenses, the near elimination of oil and filter changes, and the decrease in downtime, the break-even point is shifting. For operations running high utilization cycles, think 1,000 plus hours a year, the ROI can be achieved in as little as 3 to 5 years. Furthermore, government subsidies and tax incentives for sustainable mechanization are effectively subsidizing your transition. In 2026, programs like the USDA's Environmental Quality Incentives Program in the US and similar initiatives in Europe are actively lowering the barrier to entry. If you aren't calculating those incentives into your purchase strategy, you are leaving money on the table. We have to be balanced here. Is the world ready to go 100% electric tomorrow? No. There are two major hurdles. The first is battery energy density. While lithium-ion technology is leaps and bounds ahead of where it was even 3 years ago, a battery still weighs more than a tank of diesel fuel for the same amount of run time. For the heaviest, 24-hour-a-day tillage operations, we are still seeing a gap in pure operational endurance compared to diesel. The second is grid infrastructure. A tractor fleet requires a massive amount of power to charge quickly. Many rural farms simply don't have the electrical grid capacity to support multiple fast charging stations at once. This is why we are seeing a shift toward modular solutions, battery swapping technology, or on-farm renewable energy hubs that act as buffers. The shift won't happen by just plugging into the existing wall outlet. It will happen by building a new energy ecosystem on the farm. Electrification in agriculture is not a trend, it is a structural inevitability. We are witnessing the most significant transition in farming technology since the shift from horse-drawn plows to the combustion engine. The farms that win in the next decade will be the ones that view this not as a burden, but as a strategic advantage, lowering costs, increasing precision, and taking control of their own energy independence. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and understand the systems driving the future of industry, you're in the right place. At Agroeconomics, we don't just follow the news, we analyze the economics behind the innovation. If you found this breakdown useful, hit that like button, comment with your thoughts on whether you think electric could handle your local farming conditions, and be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to see the future of our food supply. We'll see you in the next deep dive.